Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I finally got my DJI back. Today we're going to talk about what nobody else is talking about, and that is how bad the economy really is. And I got some interesting insights, and I'm sharing with you in this video. Okay, as you see here, I'm in Las Vegas. This is my hometown. I see a bunch of construction going on, but I've been talking to contractors, and these poor contractors have no leads. Nobody is remodeling. Nobody is working on their houses as they used to. And that is a huge problem, because when contractors don't have work and they can't keep building houses, then other people in that economy that are in the contractors world, real estate, are also tightened. What has to do with interest rates. And on top of high interest rates, we have huge unemployment. When I look at the news, I pulled up an article right here, and the news is basically saying we are all good. The economy in 2023, most people have jobs, but many are unhappy about their money. So when you do a little digging and you look at some other news agencies, what they're saying is that, like, oh, it's just small layoffs and we don't have to worry about it. But when we look into the numbers, and I have it on the screen here so you can follow along, 2023 layoff tracker. So when we look at all this, just in April, Tyson's Foods laying off people, 3M is laying off people, Whole Foods is laying off people, Deloitte, BuzzFeed's laying off people, Walmart's laying off people, McDonald's laying off people, Bed Bath & Beyond, Meta's laying off people, Disney's laying off people, all these crazy, Amazon's laying off people. So those are tens and hundreds of thousands of jobs that are going to be affected, not only because of the layoffs, but that money is taken out of circulation. So what happens is that what this does is with the economy is that these poor people that are getting laid off don't have the money to put it back into the economy. So one layoff is going to be trickled down to even more layoffs, because these people aren't going to spend their money. Yes, this is crazy in so many different ways, because what's Meta going to do? They just make higher profits, distribute it to shareholders, and guess who shareholders are? Banks and other institutions. So this is really bad for all of us living in the United States, because nobody should be worried about where the next meal is going to come from. But when we're looking at all these layoffs and higher interest rates and all that other stuff, is kind of bad when we're thinking about not having jobs and we can't provide food on the table for our families. So how can we combat this? Well, there's side hustles that we can do. There's a bunch of other things that can help to offset that. But a lot of people don't have the business skills to take on a side gig, because it's difficult to do a side gig or do something. It took us a long time to establish brands, to establish a company that really is cash flow positive. It's not as easy as these TikTokers say, oh, just buy a pressure washer and start pressure washing sidewalks for people and you can make $1,000 a day. Don't you think if that was something that was really reliable as source of income, everybody be doing it, and then the market's saturated, so nobody's gonna want to do it? So that is just a few things that are really not great when we're talking about the economy and recession and side gigs, because even on Fiverr, people are really hurting for money, and Upwork, they're really hurting for money. So what do? You just gotta find a way how to do your job better, and how to make yourself more valuable, because now you're also, if you're in the office, you're competing with AI, and AI doesn't sleep, AI's not getting worse, but when you have a bad day, your performance is gonna lack. If you're going through a divorce and you're trying to, or through a health crisis or something, you cannot perform at work, and nobody's asking you to do that. But AI does not give a shit. AI will just come along and thread along and work 24 hours, 7 days a week, and keep being better at AI stuff. So what does that mean? That means, I read this article on Microsoft said that it's going to take away the busy work of the people. So that means that it's going to take meeting notes, it's going to write scripts, it's going to do all this other stuff, but this is just the beginning. We're at the beginning of this AI revolution. So how can you be better at AI? I have no idea. To keep your job, if you have an idea, let me know in the comments below. But it's just so crazy when these layoffs are coming and you're gonna get replaced with AI, and where's your money gonna come from? Are you gonna go to get unemployment and trying to do unemployment and get by unemployment? No, because most people don't want to take unemployment. Most people aren't proud to be unemployed. I don't want to take unemployment. If I would be employed, I would try to find a job. But I'm even seeing recruiters online now saying that they can't find a job. So if your job was to be recruit people and you can't find a job at recruiting, what does that tell us? It's just really difficult for people. And this time around, it's not just like, oh, people aren't going out to restaurants. No, people are still going out to restaurants, but it's upper middle class that's going to get affected. So this is the worst spot you can be in, is upper middle class right now, and there's a doom of you trying to be laid off. So back to the original topic about AI and layoffs and where the economy's heading, and how I think it's so bad is because we just don't have the money to go through this. Before, we had the stimulus ballers and everybody was just happy, and they've all spent it, and they've paid over MSRP for cars. They did all this crazy shit, and now the music is stopping, and the question now is, do you have a chair? Do you have a chair when the music is stopping? Because when the faucet of the interest rate is getting tightened and interest rates are on the rise and money and credit is harder to come by, it is tough. Let me tell you, it is tough when you have loans in the 10-14% that you gotta pay back. So you gotta figure out a way how you can make extra money that doesn't cost you too much to make. So let me say it this way. So if you have a cost per acquisition in your company, or if you try to put out Facebook ads and find a pressure washing business, back to that, and your customer acquisition, because you got to spend money on ads, is $100, and with labor, insurance, and all that, you're only going to make a few $100. Is it really going to be worth it for you to do all that hustling and grinding while you're trying to get off of the wheel that you were on before with the job? But when you're actually thinking about, hey, I need to get a better job, I need to get something else. And now, when Meta and everybody else is laying off people, what the problem is with that is that these are not average people. So when you work for Meta, you work for Google, you work for Amazon, I'm not talking about warehouse workers, I'm talking about very skilled individuals that have very specific criteria when they apply that they're really good at. So when you work for Meta, I know people that actually worked for Meta, and I know people that worked for Microsoft, and they've worked for Google, and they're very smart in one specific field. Like, let me say that they're really good in software engineering in some form or another, about maybe AI modeling or something else. And now you and me as the average person are gonna try to compete with these people. And I don't want to compete with somebody like that in the job market, because first of all, I don't have the knowledge. Second of all, I'm also not that great with interviewing as other people might be. So then you're already, and I don't have Meta or Google on the resume. So that already puts me at a disadvantage, because I think a bunch of people do think that working for Meta, working for another tech company, a FAANG company, is very lucrative and basically puts you on top of the list. And when you do not have that on your resume, it's going to make it very, very difficult for you to land another job. But I think right now, with all this stuff going on and nobody's really talking about it, we're going to be in a spot where, at a point of no return, where there's going to be more layoffs, and money's going to be taken out of the system because it's not going to circulate too much. So what is that going to do to us? That's going to increase taxes. We're going to have to let go servers, waitresses, and that's going to be even worse, because then we have even more unemployment. So we need to come up with a strategy as Americans, or as the world, where we can complement AI and use that in our advantage, so we can be more productive and not get rid of jobs, so that we can increase the output while decreasing costs but still pay a high salary. And that is very, very difficult to do. And I don't see how that's a possibility, because as a business owner, you need to run a profit, and you need to have enough money in the bank for yourself and the company, so it doesn't go under if you don't have clients for 1 or 2 months. So I spoke to a contractor in California the other day, and he said he has a few more jobs lined up, and then it's like crickets. And that is not good. And not only that, it's even here, people are really hurting for money, because they just can't have $500 for some expenses that they're trying to incur or trying to get rid of. But if there's no jobs, then how are you going to pay for those? That's why credit card payments and credit card debt has spiked over the last 6 months, because how are you going to live off of you had 2 incomes, you had COVID stimulus money, you had all this crazy stuff, and you were balling, and you were doing great, and now all of a sudden that's all dried up. So now you're in a tough situation, and you don't really want to decrease your lifestyle, but you have to, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough to manage that fine line of sacrificing what's not important and keep spending in a way that benefits the economy. So I have no idea what the perfect solution is. If you do, let me know in the comments below. But I think we are going to be really in a bunch of hurt. And a friend of mine, family member, just bought a house. And he bought a house of mine. No, he didn't buy a house of mine. He bought a house that's similar to mine, less square footage by a lot. And he bought it for about $200,000 less than I did, but his payment is double what I have. So that is crazy. And I think a lot of people are now married to their house, like myself. I cannot sell my house because I have such a low interest rate and my payment is so low that there's no way that I can, even if when I downsized, even if I was thinking about downsizing with the new interest rates, it would cost me more than I have right now. So even myself, and my wife are in a tough situation because we're now stuck. And I think a bunch of Americans are also stuck because we're married to the house at 3% interest rate. We refinance, we have a few properties in the trees. So what are we gonna do with low interest rates, houses, but we can't really move? So do you just buy another one and pay more or rent it out? I don't think that anybody can rent their nice house out and make a decent profit because they're not going to take care of the house as you are. So that's another dilemma. So you can't rent it out. You can't do a bunch of things that you used to and just say I'll buy another one because there's still low interest rates. So now you're in a catch-22 between a rock and a hard place, and you don't know where to go. And I think a bunch of Americans are in the same situations. Thank God we sold the RV, sold the truck, got rid of those, made some money, and the business that we have about social media and helping people get jobs is coming up and helping us get more clients and helping them get jobs, but we've noticed that it is more difficult. So let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next one, and let me know if you have any questions.